everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening. Okay. So we're going to do a quick roll call for our minutes.
Judith Destin from the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office.
Colette Boston. Are you here? Okay. Janice Reed.
Present.
Present.
Lulu Freistadt, present.
Okay. Monica Brown. Number ending in 08. Can you change your number to a name?
Antoinette Smart. I'm not sure if you're hearing me.
If you don't, just let me know. Vacation is having the tree lighting ceremony on Friday, December 16th from 6 to 9 p.m. If you want to take a picture or make a note of that. It's going to be at Paddock Park and Avenue between Farragut. And we can also send this out if you either don't have it or you want further information. You can also contact the office. And let's see if the other one works. Borough President Reynoso is having I see the date is for June 10th. No, don't computer.
Excuse me, Madam
Not
Chair,
recording.
I
I'm sorry?
believe you're breaking
I don't
up.
want to waste time doing
Yeah,
I
I
that.
couldn't
think,
hear. I couldn't hear. Same thing. I
yeah,
can't hear what you're saying, Chair, because the phone keeps breaking up.
yeah, I believe that you may have been reporting before
You're
you
breaking up.
announced.
I'm breaking up, or you're breaking.
Okay,
You're breaking up.
you're breaking up. Yeah. So
Hello?
did
Can you hear
you
me?
announce anything prior to the Christmas tree lighting or something like that? Because I believe we kind of jumped in as you started announcing, or that's where you started your report.
Oh no! What did you miss? Oh no!
Everything.
Everything.
Oh no! Okay.
Yeah, so we
I've
heard
been talking to.
tree lighting and then it jumped into something else. So
I
I'm
thought it
Oh,
was
but did you
me.
see it? Did it
no,
actually show? You didn't
no,
see the
no
tree lighting?
image.
Oh no! All right, I'm not gonna mess with it. So the tree lighting is happening because I don't wanna. I don't wanna. Oh Lord, go back to it. Okay, so tree lighting is happening on December 16th from 6 to 9 p.m. and it's gonna be at Target
Well,
Park,
they've been watching
which
Alvin
is
for the last
between.
10 minutes because I have been a meeting. So
Say that
they say
again.
8.
I believe someone needs to mute. Oh yeah.
Oh, so it's between Farragut and Forster. Can you mute if we're not talking? What is that? Rested. Then Antonio Reynoso, our borough president, is having a state of Brooklyn address. That is save the date scheduled for January 10th, 2023. And we
January
can
10th.
also send these things out to you guys. If you either don't have it, as a reminder as we get further information. You have a question, Rested?
The borough president is having
Did everyone receive the look at the September minutes? Meeting minutes? We can table the minutes and hopefully we'll have quorum in December so that we can approve them in December. Or we can try to approve tonight. So which would you guys prefer?
I was unable to read them.
Tabling?
Did Janice read? I was unable
You
to
weren't
read
able to
them.
read?
I saw they came on the top. So.
Okay. So is everybody
Still
okay with
need
us
a
tabling
quorum
till,
to, yeah.
right? We're gonna get there, Sharon. So we'll be tabling September and October minutes, and then in December it will also be November, and hopefully we'll have quorum in order to do that. Any questions or comments so far? So last but not least, I wanted to, before I bring on Enid, I wanted to just let the committee know, NAB 17 came here and presented back in September. Our numbers for the survey are at 417 for our district only. And citywide, we've already completed 20,000 surveys to date. There may be more now, depending on if surveys came in today. So I just wanted to update our community board that surveys are happening. They're still happening. They will be ending December 31st, 2022. And hopefully you guys can either complete the survey if you haven't done so already, or please feel free to share the survey with other community members so that we can get more numbers in for our district. And if you need either survey QR code or a copy of the survey so that you can complete it, you can let me know and we can get that to you. Any questions?
I would take a copy of the survey, please.
Brookdale? Is it OBH? Kingsbrook. Sorry. Yep. Good evening, Enid.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Chairwoman Joseph and members of the committee. It's my pleasure to be with everybody this evening. I'm usually on the general board meeting for Community 17, but thought it fitting this month, being that it was Diabetes Awareness Month, to introduce a very special program that One Brooklyn Health has brought to light, which is our Diabetes Center of Excellence, which is located at 1110 Eastern Parkway out of our Pierre Toussaint Outpatient Specialty Center. OBH, or One Brooklyn Health, as you may know or not, is comprised of 3 different hospital services or systems. It's Kingsbrook Jewish, Interfaith Medical, and Brookdale Medical Center. Since our integration, diabetes has been an incredibly interest of ours in terms of the instances in our community. And all 3 of our sites, as well as our 13 off-site facilities, specialize in diabetes care. However, the Diabetes Center of Excellence at Pierre Toussaint is something that has been on the horizon for quite some time. The chair of quality for One Brooklyn Health, Dr. Kurt Kodroff, is an endocrinologist board certified and runs this particular center. And the Center of Excellence, again, located at 1110 Eastern Parkway at Pierre Toussaint, is really designed to improve care for people living with diabetes and enabling patients and community members to achieve their highest level of care. The center provides access to an interdisciplinary team, and that means there's everyone from health coaches to nurse practitioners to PharmDs or pharmacists, social workers, health and health nutritionists, to be able to really help diabetic patients and those who are pre-diabetic really enhance their quality of life. The center also includes cardiologists, podiatrists for foot care, ophthalmologists for eye care, as well as vascular doctors, which we know diabetic patients always do suffer from some vascular issues. But the real highlight of the program that I wanted to share with the group is that the center's program collaborates with Health People, which is a very, very unique training program, New York's leading peer education program in diabetes. And basically what it does is it trains other community members in the prevention of diabetes. It is a diabetes self-management program, as well as a diabetes prevention program, where you're educating peers to help others. And what's really great about our collaboration with Health People, of course, them being the #1 peer leading education program in the city, is that those who have trained become certified in diabetes self-management and can take that education anywhere they'd like, in the community, outside their community, within their churches, within their homes, within their private circles, and really gives us an opportunity to start to really spread the education about how to prevent diabetes and or how to manage diabetes, which seems to be a very, very difficult component when one gets a diabetes diagnosis. We just celebrated on November 14th, which was Diabetes Awareness Day, the first graduation of the first cohort of 16 peer educators from the OBH Health People program, and really wanted to let persons know a bit more about it because registration is open for this program. Information is available for those who might be interested in this training. It is an intense training process, and this evening I wanted to make sure that I gave you the overview, but I wanted one of the trainees who graduated from that program and who has been an ultimate partner with ours. Her name is Colette Boston. Colette, I don't know, I see your name up, so I'm wondering if you're ready to speak, because I really do want the group to get more of an insight understanding of what it was like to be trained in this program and exactly what it entailed and what you received from that program, so the group can have a really bird's eye view of what we're offering.
Hi, my name is Colette Boston, and it was very.
Colette, you're breaking up. I can't really hear you, hon.
But although what makes it so very impactful is that we will never know how many people we will impact with the information that we will give others and through the classes that we will give. But we do know that it is impacting our community in a very positive way. Just now, people are just like drinking this up, like this is something so wonderful to them. Them being, because this is a different program. We're not telling them what to do. We're giving them strategies that can help them better what they are doing. And if they're not doing that well, to figure out strategies that will better what's going on. I'm sorry I'm on the train. I tried to keep it quiet for as long as possible. The, the, the other positive thing about this is that many of the people are now saying that the next classes, they just want to take the classes, even though they have already taken the classes. They want to take the classes again, and they are inviting their friends, and they are telling everyone that they know about it because it has impacted their life in so many different ways. And
Thank you so much,
ways.
Colette. Colette, can you please share how long your training was?
Okay. We had
How
4
long
days
was
of
it?
intense.
So I think she's saying it was 4 days of intense training, but within that training cycle, and Colette, jump in whenever you can, Health People did provide also Metro cards for transport, lunches throughout the day, as well as stipends for those who are willing to train, because it is an intense training and does take some sacrifice. I believe they are 4 days, but they are all day training, Colette, if you can confirm. Okay, I don't think I think she's cut out, but I just wanted to at least share that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the information in the chat for anyone who might be interested in this training program particularly, and also anyone who might have a family member or friend who might need the assistance of the Diabetes Center of Excellence at One Brooklyn Health. And I thank you all so much for your opportunity to present it this evening in light of Diabetes Awareness Month. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for the information.
Hi, Enid, I have a question. So what after they complete this training, so what happens now? Like, so what else is there for participants?
Actually, they work with us at One Brooklyn Health to target persons in the community who need this type of diabetes self-management training. So now that they're trained, they'll start their own cohorts. They'll go into churches, they'll go into their children's schools, they'll go into their PTA groups, wherever they might find there's a need to create this level of education. So you actually get agency in going out and building your own circles, your own educational circles to be able to spread the word about this.
So we had 6 I don't know what other questions you asked me. I'm so sorry.
Does someone have another question?
I had a question. Yes, my mother-in-law lives in Queens. She's pre-diabetic. Would she be eligible for the program?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, there are persons that do travel a distance to take this program because the training opportunity is so great. So absolutely, we take persons from all the boroughs. And as a matter of fact, I'll see if I can find out and get back to the chairperson about what Health People programs might exist already in Queens, because I know they're throughout New York City.
That would be better for her. She's in Rosedale. Thank you.
Okay, will do.
And then how would I follow up with you about that?
Oh, you know what? I can put my information in the chat.
Thank you so much. It's really valuable work. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. I think that from what I've seen and what I've heard from persons who have participated in the program, many of which are diabetic. And their inspiration for getting involved was like when they were diagnosed with diabetes, they just weren't really sure where to turn. It was such a difficult disease to maneuver, especially in large families where everything changes for you, but everything stays the same for everyone else. And, you know, many persons explained that having family members actually understand that they all needed to eat differently or change their lifestyle, how that really helped. And so they became educators to their families, and it really helped their process. So I know that it is a valuable program. So most definitely will put the information in the chat, and I will definitely find out more about that Queens location for you.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Questions before we let Enid off the hook? But Enid, this is wonderful. Thank you so much for this information.
Thank you all so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Okay, if there's no further questions, we're gonna
Hi,
move,
so I'm back on.
we have an addition
Do you need me
actually to the
anymore?
agenda before I get into new business. Hello? Is somebody talking? Hello?
Hi, this is Colette. So sorry, so sorry, so sorry.
Hello? Hi, Colette. That's okay. You had a question or you,
I just wanted to know if you had any more questions for me, or if anybody else had any more questions for me. Our cohort became.
Colette, I have a quick question, Colette. Do you know if Health People have a cohort out of Queens right now?
No, I don't believe that they do. But I believe
Okay.
that they're trying to get something out of there.
I thought I heard so too. Okay, great. I'll find out more. And can you just confirm, Colette, you did 4 days of training, and how long was the training for how many hours per day?
It had to have been, we counted it off. So it was 2 months thereafter. So after we did the initial training, we had 2 months extra training to solidify the knowledge that we were given.
Okay, right. Like brush up training almost. Okay. Thank you, Colette. Thanks so much.
I do have a question. I'm sorry about that. I had to step away for a second. So, Sharon Marshall, Director of Community Engagement and Partnerships at the Bureau of Brooklyn Neighborhood Health, part of the health department. So a lot of the our targeted work that we do in Brooklyn, although we do address all stages of life, we do specialize in perinatal health, maternal child health work. Some of the things that we have been focusing on is the link of chronic disease and birth outcomes. Is there like a section in the training around the relationship between diabetes and birth outcomes? Because within our community, we're more likely to be diagnosed with chronic disease during our reproductive years. And so we're trying to really work on some targeted messaging around that, besides just you might potentially have a big baby. No, we want you to really know about how it impacts cardiovascular health and things like that. But the best messengers are peer educators. So wanted to know if that is being disseminated, that the diabetes work isn't just focusing on the older population, but those of childbearing age.
Definitely. And I think that too, and Colette, if you can jump in, if you're able, you can speak even more closely to it, that those who had gestational diabetes and the risk factors in that are discussed in this program. So I think that this
Yeah.
is a perfect example of how this program can become uniquely shaped to your needs and your community, and why it's so valuable in terms of the education. Because, you know, as you're saying, diabetes is affecting so many people across the scale, and children as well. So we talk about that component also. So yes, the health coaches and the specialists can actually help you while they're training you in this, how to specialize this and scope it and craft it to your particular population. That's a great question.
It should most definitely be crafted to your particular population, but also the information that's given is generalized enough that it hits most populations, if not all. And what I mean by generalized is that we do a lot of strategies. And a lot of us, we don't realize it, but we use strategies to better our lives all the time. But this is something that you're doing for a disease. And most people don't think of a disease as strategizing against it. But this is what this program helps you to do.
Thank you, Colette.
You're welcome. I am so embarrassed. Please excuse me. This would never ever happen. Everything went backwards. You know how that can be. But I just want to thank you for the opportunity in it and Community Board 17. This program is a lifesaver. And it's not a lifesaver just because it helps to prevent, but those who have it, it gives them strategies to better their lives.
Yes. Colette, we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Colette.
You're very welcome.
Any further questions? Enid, if we have any other questions, we could definitely email you or reach back out to you or to Colette.
Oh, please, absolutely. I'm going to put my information in the chat. I'd be glad to help anyone who's looking for info.
Thank you.
Ms. Joseph, I just
All
wanted
right.
to let you know that I had an item that is not on your agenda. I wasn't aware until this morning that there was a meeting today. I went to the Community Board 17 general meeting and was told to connect with this committee about some voting machines that are coming into our communities and that we rather.
Is this Lulu?
Yeah, this is Lulu Freistat from Smart Legislation. And I just wanted to let you know it is an urgent issue. And I apologize. I didn't know how to get on your agenda. I wasn't aware of the meeting until this morning.
Okay, it's no problem. So I'm going to, are you okay with waiting until new business? Because I do have someone else who is also going to be, who's not on the agenda, who's also just going to give us some updates. And then you could definitely share your information on the new business, okay?
I understand. I just have to be up by 8:30. As I said, I wasn't aware that there was a meeting, so I had to juggle my schedule a little bit.
Sure, no problem. Okay, no problem. You will be. Thank you. So with that, Sharon, if you're ready, by all means, you were the new addition to the agenda. Now we have two, but as long as there are no objections to the people here in the meeting, Sharon has some information that she would like to share with us. So Sharon, are you ready?
Yeah, and my colleague Simone Colbert might actually have this information as well. So I don't know if Simone, you have maybe the flyers
Okay.
for upcoming events as well. As I shared before, I'm the Director of Community Engagement and Partnerships for the Bureau of Brooklyn Neighborhood Health. And so our catchment area is North and Central Brooklyn, Eastern Brooklyn, as well. So we have some upcoming events and activities that are going on. First and foremost, we're still encouraging people to get their flu and COVID bivalent booster shots. So we are having booster shots at 2 locations. This is out of our district, but I had circulated it to Madam Chair. At our 485 Troop Avenue location, which I work out of, and at the Kingsborough houses at 1880 Pacific Street. We're doing this every Friday and Saturday. Fridays at our Bedford site at 485 Troop, and Saturdays at 1880 Pacific Street. And so we are there from 10:30 to 3 o'clock on those days. We'll also appoint individuals to where they can get their primary series. We have encountered some individuals that have now made the decision, and we're glad to actually get the initial series for COVID. So we have a great team that assembles to provide that information. We're also having some fire safety trainings on December 2nd and December 7th, because we know during the cold weather months and holiday season, we are even more susceptible to house fires. So we want to keep the community prepared for that. And also, we have a thing that we do each month called the Partners in Health Chat, where you would hear all this information and more, receive updated information about COVID, flu, RSV, you name it, MPV, formerly known as monkeypox. And so we also provide education around a specific topic. So tomorrow we're doing a presentation around health insurance enrollment, since this is the period. So Simone, are you able to share that information, or we can, if Madam Chair, if you could forward that to the participants as well. The Partners in Health Chat occurs on the typically the last Tuesday of each month at 10 a.m. And it's no more than 45 minutes of time for you to ask questions and to receive information and get to know the Brooklyn team that looks out for everyone in the district. We also have mental health first aid training coming up on December 9th. And if you're interested in hosting a mental health first aid training within the district, we could work on that as well.
Yep, you took the words right out of my mouth. And yes, we can send out the information. I could just send the email that you sent me as well that has all of this information in it.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Simone, did you have anything else you wanted to add by any chance?
I don't really have too much more to add. I was looking for an option here to drop the flyers into the chat. I'm going to work on that, but you did mention you have the information. If you need anything, I'll forward it as well. We do have our Healing Pathways to Parenting class that we're also offering at our Brownsville location. And that class is a 9-week series for parents. Parents with children of all ages, and we address things like communicating with your child and self-care for parents. But again, that's a 9-week class, and we're working on having parents come that may have a mandate to take a parenting class. So it's definitely something that would be good for the community, and I will share that information with you as well, Rhonda. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
And always keep in mind that community members in the district are eligible if they are in need for pack and plays, for portable cribs, car seats. Of course, you must attend the required trainings, and we do have an emergency diaper program. So so that's distributed, on a needs basis, and typically one time only, but we are building up our repertoire of classes and anyone you know of who may need childbirth education classes at no cost, newborn care classes, etc. The Brownsville site, which isn't far from the district, is available to you.
And also breastfeeding support. We have a
Yes.
weekly baby cafe that's great for women that have questions about weaning or latching issues as well. But as Sharon stated, an array of things centered around family wellness.
And
Where are the classes? Are the classes only in Brownsville?
Yes, at our site at 259 Bristol Street. We also have community partners like Caribbean Women's Health Association that does offer some breastfeeding support classes and other classes as well. So we're just at this point primarily sharing the ones that we have organized within the health department.
Okay. And for the car seats, where would someone, if someone's interested in car seats, where would they go? To
So
the Bristol Street?
yeah, well, I think there's an online one coming up. Well, the training is virtual, but you of course have to come in person to pick up. Yeah. And we will be hosting, I believe, a Haitian Creole class as well soon.
That's good. And where would this be at?
The Haitian Creole course is taught at the Brownsville location.
Okay. Okay, so can I get some information about
Absolutely.
who I need to speak to about that?
Yes, we'll put it
Email.
together in one email. We'll send it over to Rhonda and then she can share it with everyone. I think that may be the easiest way. I apologize, you all. My birds are going crazy.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, that's, yes, you can send it all to me and then we'll blast it out to the attendees.
And I was just wondering about the presentation around health insurance enrollment. Did you say that was tomorrow?
Yes, at 10 a.m. Yes.
And is that online?
It's virtual, yes.
And how do we get the link?
Rhonda, do
I
you
have the
believe you'll
link
be
and I
able
can
to
send it. Yeah, I have
Right.
it. If it's in that email, Sharon,
Yes.
I have it. I'll send it out.
Yes.
Hold me to it. I will do it when we get off of this meeting tonight. So if anyone is interested in attending tomorrow, you'll have the information. Is that
And
okay?
Simone, put your info in, contact info. I'm
Just
doing
in
it too
case
as well.
I dropped the
Yeah.
ball.
No, I'm not saying you're dropping the ball. Just
Yes, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Or you could just put it in the chat if you have the link. I don't know if you have it.
I don't have the email
Okay.
in front of me and my computer is doing a lot of stuff and I'm just trying to keep this meeting stable as best I can so I can hear. So I don't want to do too much stuff. So I apologize for that, but I will send it out when the meeting's over.
Thank you so much.
So Lulu, I will now be handing the floor over to you. We are now in new business and I will definitely give you the floor so that you can definitely present this important information. And I do apologize for you having difficulty getting to us, but by all means, thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure to be here with you. And it's very kind of you to give me the opportunity to speak to the community. I'm a Flatbush resident, so my name is Lulu Freistadt, and I am also the founder and executive director of an organization called Smart Legislation. And we're the legislative branch of a nonprofit, a 501c3 called Smart Elections. And we work to improve US elections. And since I live here in New York, we've been especially focused on New York elections. We work to make them secure, fair, accessible, well-administered, and publicly verifiable. And also a lot of work on reaching out to different groups and making sure that elections are inclusive. But one of the things that we're very concerned about right now is that New York is going to be getting new voting equipment very soon. Our voting machines are actually kind of they're on their last leg. We got our voting machines around 2009. In general, a voting machine is considered to have about a 10-year lifespan. So our voting machines are already well past the 10-year mark. They're really moving into like that's like, 14, 15 years that 13 to 15 years that we've had these voting machines. And especially the voting machines for voters with disabilities. They're called a ballot marking device. Here in New York City, those are really just falling apart, and some of them, maybe even half of them, are just not even working when voters go to use them. So we're going to be making big purchases, and these are going to be happening rapidly, and it's going to be millions and millions of dollars from our communities. And it's really important that those monies be well spent and help our elections and help bring more people into the process. We want more people voting, more people participating, because we all know that when we have more people participating, we get better decisions. We get better elected officials that we can hold accountable, and we can really get the type of great services that people are talking about here tonight. And we all need to be participating in order to make that happen. The problem is that some of the voting machines that are coming into New York State are very problematic, and they've had in other states where they've been used, they've had very, very bad experiences. They're very expensive. Some of the most expensive on the market. They could cost as much as 2 or 3 times the cost of some other voting machines that are available. And they are also associated with very long lines to vote. And they also have a lot of security issues. So I'll talk you, it gets a little bit complicated, but I want to sort of keep it simple and then leave you a little time if you have questions. So one of the things that's happening, because we're going to be making this big purchases, like the state as a whole, and it's going to be sort of county by county, voting machine vendors know that this kind of like big purchasing is coming up. And like any other industry, a lot of this is about money. And these voting machine vendors will try to sell us their most expensive voting machines because they want to make the most amount of profit. They only get this big sale of a voting machine about, once every 10 years. But then one of the things that they can do is also sell us voting machines that have very expensive contracts, like maintenance contracts, and have a lot of equipment, a lot of printers, a lot of software, a lot of hardware, and then they make more money off of maintaining that equipment. So the type of machines that they are trying, that there's 2 vendors in particular, ES&S and Dominion, are trying to sell us these machines. And the kind of type of voting machine is called a universal use voting machine or a hybrid voting machine. And what these are usually are kind of like ATM style voting machines, where it's on a touchscreen machine and you select your candidates on a touchscreen machine, and then that machine prints out your ballot for you. Instead of the type of system that we have now here in New York that's working really well for us already, most people, when they go to the polls, they just fill out their ballot with like a pen and a paper. Now just think to yourself, what costs more, a pen and a paper, or a computer for every single voter to vote on a computer and a touchscreen? The computer touchscreen costs much, much more. And on top of that, those computer touchscreen voting machines, they create very long lines. Because just imagine that like everybody in this room wanted to vote. So there's like 12 people on this call. If each of us had a paper ballot and we could fill out the paper ballot with a pen, and say one person was a voter with a disability that couldn't use a pen and wanted to use a computerized system, then 11 of us would fill out our ballots at the same time, while one person used a computerized system, and we would all be done pretty much at the same time, and we would put our ballots through the scanner and it would go quickly. Now I want you to imagine that there's 2 voting machines, like touchscreen voting machines, and all 12 of us have to vote on that touchscreen voting machine. So I'm going to vote. It's going to take me maybe 10 minutes, and then Sharon's going to vote, and then Simone's going to vote. Each of us is going to take 10 minutes. Now it's going to take the same group of people, instead of 10 minutes each for us to vote, it's going to take 10, 20, 30, like an hour or more for all of us to vote. Same voting, but the computerized ATM style system is going to take much longer, and the line is going to back up and back up and back up. And that is what happened. These computerized systems are used, for example, across the entire state of Georgia. In Georgia, they have very long lines to vote. In 2020, they had lines as long as 10 hours to vote. 10 hours. And these voting machines can also be a tool of voter suppression. You can wind up only having a small number of voting machines in a community that has small resources, like maybe our community here in Flatbush doesn't have that much money to have a lot of these voting machines, and we wind up with longer lines. And maybe a community like Westchester that has a lot of money has lots of voting machines, and they don't have the lines. So it can be a tool of voter suppression also. And in addition to that, these voting machines use barcodes to count votes. And that is a whole nother just bag of worms, you can't really verify who you voted for. If your vote is encoded in a barcode, then the barcode is what the machine counts. It doesn't count the bubble next to a name where you can see the name that you voted for. It counts the barcode. It's just a series of bars and numbers. You can't really verify who you voted for. So we really don't want these systems for a number of reasons. Now, meanwhile, these systems are rapidly coming into our state, and they are in the process of being approved. They have already applied for approval with the State Board of Elections. Our organization has been fighting them for 3 years, trying to keep this from happening. And we have really good legislation that would stop them and maintain the system that we have, which is hand-marked paper ballots and ballot marking devices for voters who need them. We have not been able, we got it through the Senate. It passed the New York State Senate twice, 2 years in a row, but we couldn't get it through the Assembly. And this has to do with politics, and I'm going to just say a certain amount of corruption, which is that the vendors hired a lobbyist, and that lobbyist is very influential, and that lobbyist was able to stop the legislation from passing the Assembly. And that's really what it comes down to. It comes down to these vendors wanting to make money and hiring a lobbyist and preventing the legislation from passing. Now, we as communities, to protect our elections, need to get organized. And we need to stop these vendors from basically shoving these expensive, insecure voting machines onto our communities. And so what I'm hoping is that we at Community Board 17 can write a letter of support for this legislation. It's going to be reintroduced in January, and we're trying to get it passed rapidly because in February, the first of these voting machines is scheduled to be approved. And once they're approved, they will start being, put into use across the state. So there really is a timeline on this. It really is urgent. And I come to you as a community member. I've lived on East 32nd Street for 8 years with my husband. We bought a home here. We love this community. We are members of the Tilger Block Association. We plant flowers and participate in the block parties. And I'm here to help our community protect ourselves from these voting machines. And I'm happy to take any questions that you have. And I'll also put a link to our website in the chat where you can find a great deal of information about this.
Thank you for the information, Lulu. I guess my first question would be in terms of a letter. We probably would need to work more on that so that it's something that can be seamless and easy for people who want to participate, some sort of form letter so that they can just sign on and then send it to their elected official. Is that the kind of campaign you're trying to maybe push towards?
I think whatever our community feels comfortable. If we want to do a petition that we sign on to as individuals, or if we want as Community Board 17 to research this together, I can do an evening where I present more information and give people, more chance to answer, to ask questions. It is helpful to have a formal letter of support. And I put the website in the chat where you can really get a lot more information about this. And I'm going to also give you a link to the formal memos of support that we have. So there are a good number of organizations that represent civil rights organizations that have signed on to this legislation here in New York, the Center for Law and Social Justice. I don't know if any of you know Loree Daniel Favors, who's a very well-known activist. Their organization is in support, as well as the Association of Black Educators of New York, and other groups that are supporting include like national civil rights organizations like Center for Common Ground and Mi Familia Vota Education Fund. And then there's many, many local organizations, good government groups. We actually have a letter of support with over 45 good government groups, groups like Common Cause, Let New York Vote, Stand Up America. These are really large groups with, Let New York Vote has over 200 good government group members, and this is picked as one of their top pieces of priority legislation this year. They feel it's so urgent, and it's actually the second year in a row that they picked it as a top priority piece. So the Black Institute is also a New York organization that has endorsed the legislation. So if we're able to come together and write a somewhat formal letter of support, I think that from Community Board 17, that does make a statement. I think it is helpful, but it really is however we decide to come together and speak out on this.
Okay. I mean, I definitely would like to look more into it, so that if I do have any more questions, I will reach out to you. And then I guess we can see where we can go from there, in terms of maybe bringing you back and getting more in depth into what's happening and what we can
Absolutely.
do.
So
But thank you so
question,
much.
are you, sorry. Mhm.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
No, so Lulu, are you making your rounds to the other committees as well? Is it that you want to have a generalized letter of support from the chair of the community board because wouldn't want to function out of alignment with the chair of the community board? Um, um, but we could also send letters or sign a petition independent of that. So I'm looking to see what your approach is. Is it one or the other or both, as far as that, and if you're attending other um committees on the board?
I went to the community board meeting, which I think was maybe the Wednesday about 2 weeks ago, and I presented this to the full
Mhm.
board. And then the
Okay.
chairperson there, Mr. Daly, suggested he directed me to this committee, and so I came to this committee. I don't have a set, idea about how to go about this. I think that
Mm-hmm.
it's, people aren't that used to thinking about this. People are used to kind of thinking about voting rights as, get out the vote and let's make sure that we all, encourage our neighbors to vote when elections come. But our organization works on what we call the middle and the back end of elections, which is more the equipment and what happens afterwards, like how the votes get counted. I'm actually an election security journalist. I covered election security for years, and the investigations that I've done are online, received over 4 million views. So I've really done a lot of in-depth investigation into voting equipment. And what I know is that it's not something that people are always comfortable. They just don't really think about the machine that they vote on. It's just kind of there, and they go in and they vote on it, and they don't really think about it after that. But it's actually it's kind of like, it can be a bottleneck. It can be an incredibly important pivotal point in the election process. And we're trying to get people informed, to understand what's happening, to understand the urgency of it. Once these machines are approved by the State Board of Elections, there's pretty much no turning back. The State Board of Elections almost never decertifies a machine once it's been approved. And once it's been approved, counties will start to purchase these machines. Their machines are wearing out. And they take the approval of the State Board of Elections as basically kind of a stamp of approval, even though that's not what it is. It's the machine is certified. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're endorsing it, but they will start to be put into use, almost immediately.
Any other questions? Okay, but Lulu, your website is in the chat, and if anyone has any other questions, they could definitely reach out to you through the chat, through your website.
Yeah, I'm going to put my contact information. I welcome people to contact me. This is my email and this is my phone number.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. So if anyone has any further questions, you could definitely reach out, and the information will be in the chat.
Yeah, and you're welcome to send that out in your email as well, Ms. Joseph.
Okay, thank you. Will
Thank
do.
you. Okay, I
All
have to
right.
go, but I really appreciate all
Yes.
the work that's being done here, and
Oh, and I appreciate you waiting. Thank you so much.
it wasn't very long. Thank you. Have a
Okay.
good night. Okay.
You too. So we're moving on to new business. And Sharon, thank you. You opened up the door to what my new business is going to be. So I have been able to arrange with the same offices to do mental health first aid certificate training for December 30th in CB 17. We are looking for a venue, but the date has been set. It is an all-day training. And you will receive a certificate at the end of the training. So along with looking for a venue, we are going to give the first 30 registrants CB17, I guess, residents first priority. And then after that, we will be filling the seats with any outreach that is done with people who may be outside of the district at this time for this first round of trainings to be able to attend the training. So this will be the first of many, we hope, with the capacity of the Department of Health to be able to do more of these trainings in 2023. So that is my new business. So if anyone is interested preliminarily now, and you know that you want to be a part of the training, this is all
Training for
happening.
diabetes?
Say that again.
Is it training for understanding being educated about diabetes?
No, this is mental health first aid certificate training.
Okay.
But the diabetes training is in the chat. Can you see it? Are you on the phone? Or are you?
Yeah, I'm on the phone.
Oh, you're on the phone. Okay. So we'll copy and copy that information and send it via email so that you can have that, as well as the training that's taking place tomorrow. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome, no problem. So again, if anyone is interested, like I said, it'll only be 30 or so attendees this round. And if you're interested, it's hot off the presses this evening, so you'll be able to get a seat, and then we'll be rolling it out to the rest of the community till we reach capacity. And that will be December 30th, and the venue is to be determined. Any questions? So our unfinished business is the resource fair. We need to form a subcommittee. If we're moving forward with this fair, which I believe we are, we're going to form a subcommittee. And I will, again, I implore anyone who is interested in being a part of that planning committee for the resource fair. You can let me know, or you can send an email to Carol also. She will let me know. And then we're going to start having discussions in January, which will be separate from this meeting. So it will be an additional meeting to start planning for the resource fair. Any questions? So does anyone have anything they'd like to report or share with the committee before we adjourn the meeting? Okay, the time is now 8:32, and can I get a motion to adjourn?
This is Janice Reed. I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Can I get a second? Anybody?
Second,
Who's that?
was Sharon.
Thank you, Sharon. Everyone have a good evening. Stay warm, and I'll see you next month. And thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Okay, good night.
All right, good night. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Night. Good night.
everyone.
Good night.
It's Joseph.
Yes, Sharon. How are you?
No, this is Carol.
Oh, hi, Carol. How are you?
I'm good.
Now,
Excuse
how was
me.
your holiday?
It was all right, but I was sick.
Oh no, me too.
So
Like a
I-
cold, right?
It was my nose. You hear how I'm talking? My nose has just been running for the last 5
Oh.
days.
And I'm like, no, you're not gonna do it because I want to enjoy my holiday. So I was fighting it, but you know.
But we couldn't do nothing about that. I went over
I-
to my daughter's. We said the blessing, I got me a plate and came back home.
Oh no. Are you feeling a little better?
I ain't coughing as bad as I was.
Okay. Okay. Are
Yeah.
you taking like a lot of vitamin